Alright, let's try another lesson. This is lesson 56, and it is called, I don't have it written up there, Rearranging Before Graphing, Finite Infinite Sets, Memberships in a Set. So this one has multiple names. I think you'll find this one pretty easy. If we start out over here, I have two sets written down. One has, we know it's a set notation when it has the braces on the side. That means it's a set. This set has only four members, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We call them members of the set. And this one is called a finite set because it doesn't go on and on and on forever. It has an ending point. You can see all the numbers that are in the set. This one, on the other hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, dot, 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 means this set goes on and on, continuing the pattern that was started. So this is called an infinite set. Now we're going to talk about what it means to be an element of a set. We have set A, which is 1, 2, has the members 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We use the symbol right here, this weird looking E thing that I have trouble even drawing. Right here, this weird looking E thing. That means an element of. So we would say 4 is an element of A. 4 is an element of A. And if it's not an element, like 7 does not belong in set A, so we would say 7 is not an element of A. We cross it out when you read 7 is not an element of A. So this is what your homework problems will look like. You'll have a set. This is set S, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it'll say, is 3, kind of sloppy here, an element of S? So you look up here, and 3 is not in set S, so we would say no. It is not, or false, depending if they want true or false or yes or no. We go up here. Is 2 an element of set F? So we go up and we look in our set F. Is 2 in set F? Yes, it is. So 2 is an element of set F. And finally, we say is 6 an element of set F? And we look at set F, and you don't see it, so you would write no. We would note up here in this set, the infinite set, 6 would be an element of that because this continues on and on and on. So if it continues, even though you don't see the 6 here, you know it's all numbers 1 to infinity. So 6 would be included in there. So 6 would be in this set. Now the main part of this lesson is called rearranging before graphing. In the last lesson, before we graphed, we put our problem was in the form y equals x plus something. This is the form that you want to get it into before you start making your table to graph it. This form is called y equals mx plus b, which is called the slope-intercept form. That's the form you want to get your problems in before you graph. So you want to solve and get y by itself. So remember all those times we're getting variables by itself? Well, it's going to start coming in handy right here. So example 2, we have, this is an equation of a line. We know it's going to be at a line because it's a linear equation. The degree of it is 1. You figure out the degree of this term is 1, the degree of this term is 1, so you take the highest degree, it's 1. So this is a linear equation, so it's going to be a straight line. So what we need to do before we can start graphing it is we have to get the y by itself, so it's in the form y equals mx plus b. It's a slope-intercept form. We're going to talk a lot about this in another lesson. So we're going to go over here. Our goal is to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So we get minus 2y equals, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to subtract it to this side. So I'm subtracting from both sides. That's an 8, by the way, minus 8. We're starting to get y by itself. We still have to divide everything by 2 to get the y by itself. So I'm going to divide this term by minus 2, negative 2, so I'm going to get y. I'm going to divide the next term by negative 2, so we're going to get 3 over 2x. And then finally, I'm going to divide negative 8 by negative 2, and that's going to be positive. Now note, we divided everything by negative 2, so that made negative over a negative made this positive, and negative over a negative made this positive. Now it's in the form that we wanted it. We have the y equals, this is what we call it, this m, x plus b. Once we get in that form, then we can make our table, which I'm not good at drawing straight lines apparently, with this thing. And we have our x here and our y, keep those in alphabetical order. In case you didn't get this the first time, let's see if we can review. You want to pick any value for x that you want. You can put anything in here. You could put 100 in here. But the problem is if you put 100 in for x, you'll have to count down 100 squares. So we try to pick numbers that are close to the center. So this is called the origin. We want to pick small numbers close to the center so that we don't have to have big numbers and have lots of squares. So we always pick 0 as one of our numbers. So let's put 0 in. If I put 0, I get 3 halves times 0 is 0 plus 4 is 4. So we get a 4 out. We put a 0 in for x, and that tells you that y equals 4. Now here's another tricky part. We talked about this in class. When we have a fraction, we want to put in whatever the denominator is so that we can eliminate the fraction. So we could put a 2 in here. That would, the 2's would cross out. We could put 4 in here. The 2 would go into 4 and cross out. But again, we don't want to get big numbers. So we're going to stick with the smallest number that we can. So I'm going to put in a 2. If I put a 2 in for x, I get 3 halves times 2. The 2's cross out, so I would get 3 left over plus 4 is 7. And we need one more. 2 points determine a line, but we need the third point to check it to make sure we're good. So I'm going to pick a negative 2 for the same reason, so the 2's crossed out. So I'm going to put in here a minus 2. Put that in. The 2's will cross out, but we still have a negative times 3 is negative 3 plus 4 would just be 1. Now we can plot our 3 points and draw our line. So the only difference between this lesson and the other one where we graphed is when we have it in this form right here, we need to get the y by itself before we do anything. So we got the y by itself, and now we plot the points. So 0, 1, 2. We go to the right 0, so we go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to get that on the plot. Then we have 2, 7, so we go to the right 2, 1, 2, and we go up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And finally we would need negative 2, 1, 2, 1. Ooh, this might not work out, but try. So we have our 3 points, and we're going to try to connect them as best as we can with a line. Here we go. Right through here. Pretty good. A little bit off, but you get the point. And we'll put our little, since you're doing a line, you want to make sure you put your arrows in. You can see this is a positive slope, and we're going to discover that the number in front of the x is our slope, and it's positive. You read from left to right, and it's going uphill from left to right, so you know that the slope is positive. Positive slope. All right, so go try lesson 56.